You've been ready for this your entire life. What I'm going to talk to you about today is something that you may or may not know about, something that you might have thought about, and I ask you right now, what is your truth? You know, when you think about what is your truth, you have to think about what pathway am I walking down? What life track will I take? What life path will I merge down? And what's going to change? Because when we're born, right? We're born as a child, as pure love, as pure passion, as pure, amazing perfection, right? As a child, we have this amazing feeling, and there's nothing wrong with us. We're perfect. But when does that change? When do we change that thought process of ourselves and begin to think differently? You know, oftentimes we have people that come into our life to help us or to harm us. Sometimes they can say the most impressive and amazing things that makes us feel really good inside, and we feel capable, loving, and in the right place at the right time. And sometimes somebody can harm us, telling us we're not good enough, that the things about our life aren't perfect, and that we aren't pretty, we are overweight, we're not smart enough, and we'll never make this a reality in our life. And I'm here to tell you that we all go through these processes in life, and we walk down these different paths, and we make these judgment calls in our life. Oftentimes, these judgments that we make become a negative, broken record in our mind, telling us we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we'll never get that job that we want, we'll never meet the right person, we'll never get married, we'll never have these things that we want so badly. And I've realized through my life that I took a lot of turns and twists based on that negative thought projection of myself. And it's interesting how when we're kids, we always want to fit in. Isn't it funny how we always want to look just like our friends? I always wanted to look a certain way and be a certain way. And I was raised in a situation where I was born with a condition that nobody understood. And I went through experimental surgery after experimental surgery, almost dying on the operation table 3 different times. And nobody could still tell me what I had. They didn't have a definition. They didn't have a diagnosis. And so not only did I have that negative broken record of myself, but I also was like, I'm not even healthy. I can't even keep it together. I can't even live like most people live. There's something definitely wrong with me. But I remember as a kid, I tried to fit in, right? We all try to fit in, no matter what. No matter the problems in our life, we want to fit in. We want to be normal. We want to be like everybody else. And I remember I'd get past the whole concept of the disease. I'm not at ease, right? I call it a dis-ease. And I'd get past that part, and then I would just focus on being a kid. And the one thing that really stood out to me, and I know that maybe a lot of you out there might think the same way, because it's kind of interesting, my voice. For God's sakes, I wanted that cheerleader voice so bad. And no, I didn't get it. And I remember when I was 6 and 7 years old, and I would call my friends on the phone to come over to the house to play, maybe for a pool party or something like that. And I would call on the phone and be like, hello, and I would try to change my voice really high. And that was when I was like 7, okay? And normally my friends would say, that was a really good job, Ashley. Good try. I'll be over at your house. My mom will take me over. It would be great to go to a swim party with you. And I wanted it so bad, and I could not fit in with that. And it's interesting for all of you out there, you have something about you that you don't fit in with. It's very interesting how that is. And it's like when you go down the road of dealing with disease, or you go down the road with a negative thought process, or you go down the road with your parents or family or somebody around you telling you that you are no good, you begin to question why we're here. And you know, when you think about the life journey, right? You think about that journey and how we walk away. And sometimes we can walk very far away from who we truly are, from our sinner soul, from who we really and truly are supposed to be. And we miss what we're supposed to be doing, but are we really missing it, or are we eventually going to get back into our center point? You know, it's interesting when you walk back and forth and you have some deep soul searching, some come to Jesus conversations. When you sit there and you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, God, why? Why can't I get to that level? What is wrong with me? Why can't I make that happen? And why can't I not see the light through the tunnel? There's got to be some light, and why can't I see it? And what are the answers to the questions that I ask? And you know, I realized going through the process of the disease and all that in my life that there's a reason for us being here. And yes, I self-medicated. I tried to find peace in a bottle. I tried to turn to pharmaceutical medication, and maybe that would deaden. Maybe that would get away from that negativity, or maybe at least make me feel okay again. But guess what? It didn't work. And eventually one day I woke up and I realized something. I realized that it's all about love and understanding ourselves. But in order to love other people, we have to love ourselves first. And I went, oh my God, how do I do that? Because anybody can tell you to love everybody. I mean, that sounds great and that sounds awesome. It sounds lofty. But I realized that in order to love myself, I had to let go of what I call my burden. And as you think about a burden as a huge knapsack or backpack that you're carrying around on your back, and it gets heavy and you can feel the weight on your back. And you have that burden and you carry it with you to every single situation in your entire life. Somebody could offer you an opportunity and you think that they're making fun of you. They're making fun of me, they're judging me, they're just going to let me fall down. And then when we realize that we are judging ourselves with this burden and we're putting the burden in front of us in every situation, we begin to analyze, why do I carry this burden? And I realized eventually that there was a time where I didn't want to let it go because it had become me. It was so solidly me that I had defined myself based on what other people had defined me as, based on my own insecurities. And I realized that until I let that go, I could never truly love myself. And you know, when you think about love in general, you realize that the reason why we're here in this path is to actually love ourselves. To come back to the center point and realize what it's all about. And when I looked at my burdens and I looked at the things that I held on to and I tried to hold on to it because it was so much a part of me, it was like having to mourn the loss of someone. When I finally let that down and I put it down and I looked at it and I tried to pick it back up, but I let it down because I realized that in order for myself to find that true love within me, I had to let go. So I ask you, are you ready to live your true life? Yes. Are you ready to let go of that burden and to identify that burden as somebody else's bill of goods that they sold you? A negative bill of goods that doesn't define you. Are you allowed to let that go? Because I'm going to tell you something right now that I think most of you might have an idea for. You might have thought about, but maybe haven't put two and two together, or maybe you've been told differently for so long. Those unique qualities that set us apart from other people, for example, dealing with a disease that I didn't have a definition for 25 years, that I finally had to work to keep myself, that I actually made myself healthy and took my entire life back over when I realized that no doctor, nobody could tell me anything, and it was up to me to figure out the solution. When I was able to do that, and then when I was also able to look at those unique qualities of myself, I think a good example would be my voice. I really didn't like it, and I felt like it set me apart from other people in a negative, bad way, but when I finally embraced it, back in 2012, my first radio station came to me and said, we want to have you on our station. All right. Yes. Now being a syndicated talk show host of Live Your True Life Perspectives and the Celebrity Perspective, syndicated nationwide, including worldwide, across Europe and in London and Britain, I realized that this voice means something, but it wasn't until that I actually fell in love with it and I said, wow, I actually love this about me, but not only that, I love me for me. Yes. Yes. And it's up to you to love you for you and to really feel that love. And how you do it is remember one thing. When you say I love you to other people, who's the first person to hear that? You are. When you say I love you, remember how important that is. And don't let anybody sell you a bill of goods based on them telling you that you're not worthy, because you are. And it's time to look at yourself and look in that mirror and feel your energy and realize that you are victorious. Bam. And that you can shine. And it's up to you to be victorious, to be exactly like you were supposed to be. Because it is up to you to find that track, to realize that the whole purpose of this life's journey is to live your true life by what? What is the reason for? We came into this planet, we came on earth to do one thing, to love ourselves. Every single facet of everything, because we created it. We made a deal when we came in. We need to find that love. And as we find that love, we begin to find love for everybody around us. And our frequency connects with that higher source. I ask you right now to ask those questions of yourself. Embrace that amazing stuff about you that only you have. And what I'm here to tell you is those amazing qualities about you that you didn't like before completely connect with your purpose here on earth. When you realize that those qualities, maybe they might be strange or odd in the beginning, but when you finally embrace them, you realize that that allows you to go into this earth and impress and help people with your purpose. And I'm here to tell you one last thing. Purpose directly correlates with those unique qualities. When we finally embrace them, it takes us to that next level of understanding how we can better serve our fellow men and our fellow women and help life on this planet be even better than we ever dreamed that it could be. Begin to love yourself today. I love you. I'm centered. As you center yourself, you begin to radiate that love outward. And I'm so happy and proud of y'all to begin to live your true life. Thank you.